So a very warm welcome. I have Martin Ziegenbalg here with me, Executive Vice President and Head of IR of Deutsche Post DHL Group. A very warm welcome to you and thank you for joining us on this interview.
Well, thank you very much. Great to have the opportunity to share a bit of our thoughts with the community out there. Thanks.
Many congratulations on the success that you have achieved in the Europe Executive Team Survey 2020, where you have placed overall in second place in the transport sector, a fantastic achievement, and across the board, all the voting categories, also top positions, with the IR program ranking in first. So what are your views on the awards and that recognition that you're receiving from the investor community?
Well, obviously, we are following the investor perception of our work on a number of dimensions, and the rankings that you are compiling definitely plays an important role there, definitely receives top management attention. And therefore, it's particularly pleasing to see that the results continue to be very strong, if I may say so.
Yes, fantastic. We've obviously all gone through an unusual year. How did the crisis impact your IR work and how you engage with market?
Well, obviously, everybody had to learn to work from home office. We had luckily sort of run a fire drill just a few months before the pandemic actually broke out. So I didn't have much doubt that technically speaking, the team would be able to work from home right from day one. Obviously, the way you're working together is different, and I would overall say it has changed the way you're leading the team in technical terms, but if in doubt, it has improved the day-to-day collaboration. Well, obviously, we experienced what most of the colleagues also saw with all the traditional roadshows, conferences, switching to virtual. Yes, you're saving a lot of time by not traveling. We did see that this was, however, also sort of challenging from the buy-side's point of view. So you could attend a London conference in the morning and a Frankfurt roadshow in the afternoon. So we have seen a bit of a, let me call it, overbooking. Yeah. So that's something that we definitely meant. Otherwise, for our internal processes, I'm glad to say that we managed all the reporting dates in preparation from remote mostly, and we had, given the situation, not surprising, a record number of ad hoc preliminary earnings releases last year. And also that worked fairly efficiently.
Yeah, very good. We've obviously all had to rapidly adopt different technologies and platforms. In terms of IR digitization, share with us your views and the tools that you're using to make your IR more effective.
Yeah, I'm glad to work in a corporation where the digitalization effort has been supported already for a longer while. And so the one tool that made our life easier and more useful for the users was to switch our daily trading update, which basically used to be an internal PDF sent around with market data, our share price, and all these sort of things. We switched that to a Power BI self-service product, which was a bit of preparation. And I have to say that's finding very good acceptance in our broader management team and the internal organization.
Yeah, very good. And we obviously can't talk about best practices IR without bringing up ESG. You have a fantastic website, focus area on ESG, very well structured. It's one of the areas that the buy side and sell side actually evaluated in our survey as well, and where you rated very highly too. Share with us where you're at in terms of your ESG journey, and how do you find alignment with investors, and what are the efforts that you are running around ESG?
Something like 2 years ago that explained to my team that ESG is going to be very high on our priority list going forward, and that was definitely the case. You're right, we're not starting from scratch. I think our sustainability practice was already developed within the group. However, we spent as a management team pretty much all of 2020, despite circumstances, in developing our new, more advanced approach to better align our ESG targets and our ESG measures with the overall group strategy, and put it on the next higher level, let me put it that way. That includes a very thorough review of the KPI universe that we're using, and also the way we are going to report this going forward. So that's something that has been a top priority for preparing in 2020, and will be released in later in March this year.
Very well. According to a Snap poll that we've conducted recently, we understand that investors actually expect an increase in activism. We see the flip side of that, showing us that corporates are not ready with a strategy or a certain approach in place. Share with us your view on that and how to potentially mitigate risk and threats like these.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, by looking at what's happening in terms of shareholder activism out there, there's a clear message to all IROs, I guess. There is no place where you can say, well, that's not going to happen to us, irrespective of your existing shareholder structure, and whether you have a major shareholder or not, what business model you're in, how your financial performance is doing. So you better have a clear idea and a preparation, and it can happen to everyone. The motives of activists differ wildly. So therefore, I'm glad that we have a formalized procedure in place, and I can only recommend to do so to the colleagues.
Yeah, very good. You've been in IR obviously for a few years now, Martin. Where do you see the trends in IR?
Yeah, look, we talked about digitalization and other themes becoming important. I think investor relations is exactly the right term for what we're doing, because it's also about building relationships. And definitely one of the learnings in 2020, yes, you can do roadshows and conferences in virtual formats. It even works with people that you already do know. However, it's hard to get acquainted and build the same trustful relationship to people you only know online. So I think the personal face-to-face interaction in our work will definitely continue to play an important role. The learnings from 2020, certainly some of the traveling we've been doing, you don't necessarily can do, or you can increase your IR presence by virtual formats. But what is going to be important also going forward is the personal face-to-face relationship, not only for one-on-ones, but also the opportunity to show investors our operations, to have site visits and the likes. I think that definitely will return quickly once circumstances allow.
Yeah, very good. I mean, for IROs or people that are thinking of moving into the IR space, what would be your top tips and absolute must-haves in terms of running an effective IR program?
First of all, you want to have a team where you have ideally some first-hand expertise in the marketplace. So I myself, I'm a former sell-side analyst. We've got team members who worked on the sell side or the buy side before. So that's something that I find a very important ingredient to a strong team. And beyond that, you have the golden rules still in place, even in times of crisis or difficulties, be probably even more transparent. And so therefore, some of the golden rules, despite all the change happening, remain valid.
Yeah, absolutely. Good tip there. And on a lighter, more personal note, we will switch gear now, Martin, and we will go through a quick question round, if we may. The first question is, name a historical person, please, that you would like to meet, and what would you ask them?
That's really an interesting one. I had the chance once, only briefly though, to meet with one of our former chancellors, Helmut Schmidt, here in Germany. He passed away by now, but that's definitely one person where I would like to spend an afternoon with.
Yes, definitely important person. What would you ask them?
Well, I think what can we do to make the memory of human history and its right and wrong ways, how can we keep that memory alive? I think a lot of what's happening in the world is in ignorance of what happened in the past and what are the root causes for certain situations.
Yes, very, very interesting. Favorite band or singer?
Well, I'm a kid of the techno generation, so all-time favorite, definitely Kraftwerk.
Excellent. And a favorite quote from a movie that you use?
Well, more jokingly, internally, if a problem starts spreading, you know, these B sci-fi movies from the 60s, and there they say, oh my God, they're breeding.
Okay, excellent. Which one is your favorite board game?
Right now I'm in cards and become an Uno specialist with my 7-year-old. How about that?
It's a good game. And name a personal objective for 2021.
Well, first of all, make sure that I and the family stay safe and get well through the situation, remain calm, and post-pandemic, obviously looking forward to be out and about and see all you guys face to face somewhere.
Yes, fingers crossed. I hope this will come true. Martin Ziegenbalg, Executive Vice President and Head of IR for Deutsche Post DHL Group. Thank you so much for your time, and congratulations again on the fantastic achievement in the 2020 Europe Executive Team Survey. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anali. My pleasure. Great job.